Hello and welcome to this week's video. Now, I'm quite excited today and I shall tell you for why. I've been dreaming of building this particular bike since I was about 13 years old, and it's taken me 2 years to get this far, but I'm finally at the stage where I'm going to be stripping it down. I'm going to be getting that moulding done and prepping it for paint. So as you can see, I've already started getting the tank ready for paint. This side I've done a bit of moulding on, but this side really needs some attention. So today I'm going to start stripping it down and looking over individual parts, prepping them ready for the paint work. So it's time for a strip down, and that doesn't involve me getting into my budgie smugglers. It's time to strip the bike down and get it all prepped and ready for paint. Now, quite often when I'm building bikes, I have a fairly artistic approach, and if I've got something I need to get in a certain position and it requires welding, it's a little bit difficult, I'll just tack it in place. So now it's time for disassembly. I'm going to be finding a few things that I've just tacked in place and I need to do the final welding on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start stripping the bike down into individual pieces. Then I can check through all of the pieces and see what attention they require. Okay, so now that I've stripped the motorcycle down, it's time to start looking at this frame. Now, I've had a little look over it and there's not that much welding to be done, more a lot of grinding. Because this frame is going to be smoothed and moulded, I need to lower the profile of some of these welds. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to be doing it to the point where it's going to take anything from the structure of the frame, but I just want to skim off the top so I can get them a little bit flatter when I pop a bit of filler over there. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be working through the frame, zapping up a couple of bits with the welder, grinding lots of bits down, and then hopefully after that I'll be able to strip off all the rust with the wire brush. So I've been through, I've done my welding, I've also ground down all of the welds and stripped the rear end of the frame. Now I've only stripped the rear end of the frame of rust and paint because in my head I think it's easier to do this in sections. Also, I'm not going to be able to get it all done in one hit. It will probably flash rust in here and give me more work later on. So I think it's better if I focus on the back. I can get some filler on there, some filler primer, start sanding it down, finding those low and high spots, building it up and shaping it. So I'm going to mix up some of my U-pole filler, dab it on there and then leave it to set. So, a quick little update for you. I've been sanding for hours, absolutely hours. Combination of hand sanding and machine sanding, wrapping sandpaper around files, wrapping it around my thumb, you name it, I've done it. And it's starting to kind of get there now. I've done probably 2 or 3 coats of the filler now, and I'm starting to refine it a little bit. I'm still working in sections, so I'm just trying to get this back half sorted, and then I can move on through. Hopefully soon enough I'll be at the stage where I can throw some filler primer on there, start refining things, seeing where these little pinholes are, and then we'll be making some progress. But at the moment it's just dragging on and on. It really is taking me a long time. Right, well, I've been sanding for quite a little bit longer. I put on a couple more coats and just kind of working out some of the pinholes and little bits like that. Everywhere you look, there seems to be something you've missed. Only now I'm getting cramp in my hands because I've been sanding for 2 days straight. I've run out of sandpaper, and I've also got to leave the workshop in a little bit. So I'm kind of stuck. I'm not going to be able to get here for a little while, so I think probably the best thing to do is to chuck some of this high build primer on, and that will at least protect the bare bits of metal from flash rusting. This workshop gets quite damp and moist, and I really don't want to create myself any more work, so I think it would be best if I get out my high build primer and I just do a rough coat over all of this. It's going to look pretty grim, I would imagine, but it will at least kind of show you guys the shapes that we're going for, and some of the smoothing that we're working out on. Just let the primer dry, and I'm actually quite pleased with what I'm seeing. There's not as much work to be done as I thought. There are obviously some big pinholes and some bits that need shaping, but on the whole it's looking pretty good, which is quite rewarding, because honestly, whilst I've been sanding out, I've just been wondering why the hell I decided to do this. But I decided to do this because it's going to look good when it's done, I'm sure of it. I kind of thought that this would be a 1 episode, all fillered, all moulded, primered and ready for paint next episode, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So a few episodes ago I mentioned how tight it was routing all the fuel line, and for that reason I couldn't have a fuel tap on there. I've since had an idea which I think will help. I've bought myself a right angled fuel tap, which I think will help. But also, what gets in the way of the fuel line and the petcock is this little piece of metal here. And really, there's no need for that. It's not doing anything structural past these welds. So at some point, I'm going to get rid of that. That's actually something that's quite commonly done with these bikes. For when you convert to a single Mikuni VM34, you need a little bit of extra space. People tend to cut that out. So at some point, I'll get around to that, and then hopefully I can use a fuel tap and route the line nicely without having to worry about kinks and stuff. Paint wise, I'm quite excited for this. I hate doing paint. If you've watched the Scrambler episodes, you already know I'm not very good at it and I don't really enjoy it, but I am looking forward to doing this paint because it's a few ideas that I've thrown together over the course of literal years, and I'm looking forward to getting around to it. I'm going to be rattle canning it. I've already got the paint, it's ready to go, so just need to get this to the stage where we can get started on that. Hopefully that'll be in the next coming episodes. But that's it from me today. A massive thank you to you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, please leave a comment, give us a like, and maybe even subscribe as well. But massive thank you to you again, and I'll see you next week.